Let's get into some of the best suburbs to buy in Geelong. And now, these suburbs aren't going to be the same as what I previously said. Some will be, don't get me wrong. But the suburbs have actually moved since I've last made the video, some of them, and it has changed because of that. So, look, to give you an idea, previously I said Corayo's probably, the best suburb to buy. And don't get me wrong, if you've got in the low 500s, that probably is still your best option. Now, you don't pick them up really that are rentable still below 500. Those days are gone. I said this to people months ago. People sat on their heels, and yep, you can do that, don't get me wrong, but I say this for only your benefit. I'm not saying it to necessarily sell anything. Like, of course, I do want to deal with clients, and I'm happy to work with people that do want to buy, but I'm not saying this for anything of my, should I say, own personal gain, aside from trying to help people. I'm saying this because this is what's happening. I can see it in the market. I'm here literally every day, and I see it every day. I talk to agents every day. This is what happens. But so where I'm going to start this is, I said previously, you'd need a minimum of probably 550,000 or so to buy in suburbs that I'd really be happy to buy in. And the first one I want to mention is in Thompson, and that's under 600K. So for those that don't know where Thompson is, it basically is kind of like your southern neighbour of East Geelong. So for those that know me, you'll know East Geelong is my favourite suburb in all of Geelong to purchase in. And there's obvious reasons for that, which I'll get into later. But Thompson is basically its southern neighbour. Now, what I'll say about Thompson is it's generally a suburb where you have a lot of homes on original lots. So you get homes on anything from about 350 metres squared right up to about 550 metres squared. Your ones that are on those original lots are great to buy, and you get plenty that are like this, that are on your original 500 metres square that are brick, veneer and tile. Now, don't get me wrong, sure, you might need to do some cosmetic things to them, but mostly they are very structurally, so they're great homes to buy. You can't really go wrong buying this longer term, and you pick them up, I kid you not, right from 550 to 600,000. I actually had a client recently pick up a brick, veneer and tile one. I think it was on about 554 something, 570 maybe metres squared, something like that. Brick, veneer and tile, no major defects, no compliance issues either. We did send a compliance team in, so it did pass the compliance tests, which were good. That basically means it's good to rent as is. And that home alone, you could probably add extra bedrooms to it. You could probably subdivide it if council let you, which I think they would, because they've let homes on smaller lots do before. And for that price, where you're going to find in Australia that's literally 3 to 4 k's from the CBD. It's a 5-minute drive into Geelong CBD to give you an idea. And that's what's so good about Thompson. The location's incredible alone. And just look at the pricing. So you can see here, you'll see exactly where Thompson is. It's like the southern neighbour of East Geelong. You look at, where it neighbours literally Geelong there. East Geelong is a much more expensive suburb than it. Thompson is right next to it. And the thing is, it's so underpriced. Look at this location, 5-minute drive into the CBD. What I'd say is, though, you need to be careful with where you buy in Thompson, because there is still a bit of public housing in some parts of Thompson. So I know people will probably say, oh, yeah, you can buy right down to 500 here. The reason it's 500,000 is either it's falling apart and it has major structural issues. It probably has no good electricals or not working electrics or plumbing, and it will probably be in the wrong part of Thompson. So the better parts of Thompson are generally now between 550 and 600,000. So that's just something to consider in the market of Thompson, but it is probably one of the best buys you can get in all of Geelong, without a doubt, especially under 600,000. It sounds crazy to even think that a good area in Australia is actually buyable at that price, but it is in Thompson, to give you an idea. Let's get into another one. So under 700, my best and most favourite would be North Geelong. Now, North Geelong, alike to what its name says, is just north of Geelong CBD. It is basically just on the inside of both Drumcondra and Rippleside, which you can see basically the main road and train line. That's Drumcondra and Rippleside in that. North Geelong's just past it, so you can see the small industrial area and the houses in there. That's North Geelong in there. So it is only, again, about a 5-minute drive into the CBD. It's just north of Geelong and Geelong West, and it's a really good suburb as well. Look, first things first, I'm not going to show this in this graph, but the income of that area has roughly doubled in the last 15 years, so it's really good. The industry is also really diversifying. It's starting to become more government-backed and private sector-backed, which is really good as well. Not only that, too, I know I previously did show you're mapping the market prices for both. So for Thompson, should I say? But the same is also true with North Geelong. So North Geelong's the one just to the right of Bell Park. It's that kind of big, kind of funny, irregular shaped one that goes to the CB, goes out over the sort of bay there. That's North Geelong. The two smaller sort of pockets by the that aren't coloured in just by the foreshore there, that's both Drumcondra and Rippleside. So and they're like $1 million suburbs, mind you. So it neighbours literally. Geelong West is probably the most in-demand suburb consistently in Geelong, and Drumcondra and Rippleside are also very expensive suburbs for Geelong as well. So it neighbours very expensive suburbs in quite a cheap pocket. I mean, you're still picking these up. Like, believe it or not, I actually picked up a property here that was brick and tile on 500 square. You will not get this ever again, I don't think. That was in the right street as well for under 600,000 previously. That was late last year, and that was, I mean, quite a good deal. But I mean, I'm still picking up things in the $600,000 mark, in mid 600s. I mean, to 700, right? That, I mean, on a decent lot size are, I mean, rentable and very well located properties. So again, to have something that, I mean, is this close as CBD is crazy. I don't see how this lasts very long, especially when we have what we have coming to the market. So North Geelong's a great place to consider in that as well. Let's get to the more top end of Geelong. And it's funny saying top end of Geelong being missed, but I mean, I'm just saying under 800K here. I mean, and the suburb I'm going to mention is probably my second favourite suburb to buy in all of Geelong, and that is Geelong West. Look, Geelong West really, it's kind of you got two different parts. You got your old kind of, I'd say, more, I'd say it's kind of heritage, more, it's your more kind of period, larger home sort of area. You do have places in Geelong West that are on, I mean, I kid you not, quarter acre blocks and are worth multi-million dollars, but you've also got the villagey kind of, should I say, Edwardian, period style Edwardian, and Victorian homes on your smaller lots, and these are great to buy. And I mean, you're still picking these up for under 800K. I had one client actually pick one up for 685K last year, which, I mean, you'll never get that again. You will never get that again. I don't even know why they accepted the offer, to be honest. But that's probably one of the best I've ever seen in Geelong, and I don't know if I'll get another better one than that for probably another couple of years. I mean, it was one of the best deals I've ever seen. But anyway, Geelong West, it has your village. It's beautiful for that. You've actually got quite good median income in Geelong as well. It's quite comparable to a lot of parts of Melbourne, and it's a fraction of the price. And the village alone of Geelong, so I'll just get into this as well. So the main part just looks like this. You can see quaint, beautiful, quiet streets. It used to be kind of like both working class area, and some parts were sort of wealthier areas of Geelong West. So you have a very good community there as well. And it's home to an area called Packington Street, which is kind of like your main high street of all of Geelong. So it looks like this. I mean, it looks the same as anywhere basically in an upmarket area. Melbourne would look similar to probably your Central Road in, Bentley East, and probably similar to somewhere like Lygon Street, some parts of it anyway, in Carlton there, Carlton North. So, I mean, like, this is what it kind of looks like. I mean, it's a great area for people to go. You got families and quaint cafes, coffee shops, restaurants, a lot of dogs walking around here. I mean, it's a really nice area. It's a place that people want to be in Geelong, to give everyone an idea. So Geelong West is one of the best locations. I mean, I'm picking stuff still in the $700,000 range now, around $750. I mean, perfectly good homes to rent. They rent very well. They rent for $500 plus a week here. So definitely a great suburb to consider in Geelong. Under 800,000. Now, the final one I want to get into is my favourite suburb. Obviously, if I can pick any budget, I'll pick any suburb. And as I mentioned previously, that is East Geelong. And now, but for many reasons, should I say, but for nothing better than its location is outstanding. It's such a good area to buy. I mean, East Geelong is actually one of those suburbs where you have a lot of tree-lined streets, a lot of very quiet streets, and it neighbours literally the Geelong CBD. It's all quiet. I mean, a lot of people in East Geelong actually ride their bike into work, and it's only about a 5-minute bike ride. I mean, depending on where you are in the suburb, some are probably 10 minutes if you're right on the edge of the suburb. But I mean, like, literally, it's where what this is here. This is a photo of basically the right seaside of the Botanic Gardens there in Geelong. I mean, it's a great place for families, great place for people to have picnics. People on major days like Australia Day and New Year's Eve and that kind of thing gather around here. You can see just the kind of, I would love to call it an ocean pool. It's more a bay pool there, just in front, kind of the baths and the nets there as well, the swimming area. That's East Geelong, and I mean, to give everyone an idea, like there's an area of East Geelong called the Golden Triangle, and this area is known for having some of Geelong's most expensive residences and some of the best areas. So I try to buy in that if I can, as close as possible. Look, the suburb alone, look, it's probably around somewhere between the, 750 to 850 mark at the moment. So I could have probably put it in under 800k, but this is for any. So I mean, there are still properties in East Geelong that I consider buying that are like 900, 950k because they are worth it. They have some of the highest capital growth in all of Geelong. 9.5 to 10% growth, sometimes even more. Some of them have done. So, this is an area you want to buy. And if you just look at the demographics of the area, median weekly household income, the serviceability is unbelievable. 1,782 a week, median monthly mortgage repayments, 1,827. So people a week can basically afford their monthly mortgage repayments here. Mind you, that number would be looking even better now because it hasn't done much for about, I'd say, 7 or 8 years or so, because don't get me wrong, you see a little bit of growth in that COVID period, but it's only 10, 20%. And you're still picking up stuff that you have probably only done 10% growth in 7 or 8 years, right? And now this is from census in 2021. So 2025, that number in terms of household income would be substantially more because wages are going up about 15%, or in probably Geelong's case, even more because it's done more than the national average, right? And also the monthly mortgage repayments may have gone up a little bit, but not as much as wages because it hasn't done that much in terms of numbers. So the resident population, which it is a very much so a long-term resident area, they would have paid their mortgages down, and even people who have been there for even 5 years would have paid it down more. So that monthly mortgage repayments would be back on what they paid for it then as well. And also on top of that, you would also have as well, people who are moving in there who have more money because the median weekly household income on average of people has gone up. And people who are moving into Geelong East aren't poor people. I'm telling you that right now. So, if you want your number one draft pick, if you have any budget in Geelong, it is East Geelong for me, 100%. It's closely followed by Geelong West. Those are budgets of probably 800k or so though. So it's not for everyone. But I've given you examples here right down to sort of your mid 500s where you can, go in and buy perfectly well. So, thank you, I guess, from everyone in doing that.